Okay, we are recording and we're live on YouTube.
All right. This meeting can be accessed via Zoom or the city's YouTube channel. If there's anyone who would like to address City Council or comment during this meeting, you must access the meeting via Zoom to comment. For safety precautions, if you would like the Zoom link to join the meeting, please email the Clerk of Council at kzilmingohi.o.gov. This information about how to obtain the Zoom link has also been included on the City Council agenda for tonight's meeting, which is available on the city's website. When joining the Zoom link, please raise your virtual hand to comment or address City Council. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Wyoming City Council. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Averett? Ms. Dancorp-Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Delgado?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Mr. Leroy?
Here.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Here.
Mayor Hoffmeister?
Here. There are 5 items on the consent agenda. They are approval of the April 19th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes, approval of the April 26th, 2021 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes, resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Ford Development for the Clark Avenue Improvement Project, renewal of liquor permits, and the application for a new liquor permit for Wyoming Vines LLC, 518 Wyoming Avenue. Do I hear a motion with respect to the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Having been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda items, all those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
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 Those opposed? The motion carries. Are there any questions or comments on the special reports? Jim, do you have a report from OKI or First Suburbs?
We don't have an OKI report at the moment. We are looking carefully at how the federal American relief funds will be spent. We've gotten some indications from Ohio about their priorities and community uses. We're waiting to see. The effort at the First Suburbs is going along well. We're prepared to deal with the funding as suburbs need that funding. And we're all, of course, watching what the city of Cincinnati is going to do. The city of Cincinnati is heading in a particular direction. And a number of the suburbs are watching it carefully to determine how the impact of that will affect interactions, particularly with the Metropolitan Sewer District and the Cincinnati River.
We will now hear a report from the acting city manager.
All right, the pop-up dog park will pop up this Friday at the Village Green and will be open through Sunday evening for you and your pooch to enjoy. The virtual Wyoming Art Show continues through Sunday. You can visit the WyomingArtShow.org to view and purchase art from the comfort of your home. The Wyoming Blooms Garden Tour is this Sunday from 1 to 4. Tickets are $10 for adults, children are free, and you can purchase your tickets at the Village Green during the event. And the Wyoming Family Aquatic Center will open this season on Saturday, May 29th at noon. Just a reminder that the city offices will be closed on Monday, May 31st for the Memorial Day holiday. And if anybody has any fantastic ideas on how we can have fun with cicadas, be sure shoot me an email, let me know. We'll look to see what we can do that's fun with cicadas. And that's all I have.
Are there any council committee reports not otherwise on the agenda? Are there any special committee reports not otherwise on the agenda? We have reached that point in our meeting where a citizen may express an opinion, make a statement, address a concern, or ask a question on any subject that is not otherwise on the agenda. If there's anyone who would like to address City Council, you must access the meeting via Zoom to comment. For safety precautions, if you would like the Zoom link to join the meeting, please email the Clerk of Council at kzilmingohio.gov. The information about how to obtain the Zoom link has also been included on the City Council agenda for tonight's meeting, which is available on the city's website. When joining via the Zoom link, please raise your virtual hand to comment or address City Council. please state your name and address before addressing City Council. Comments will be recorded into the minutes and passed along to be addressed by the appropriate staff or City Council committee as needed.
I have no virtual hands.
Say again, please.
I have no virtual hands.
Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to the next item of business, the report from the Charter Review Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. The Charter Review Commission met on 4 different occasions in the past couple months, and in general, the commission did not feel that there were significant changes necessary to the charter. The commission's primary recommendations are aimed at clarifying some of the provisions, providing consistency throughout the charter, and providing tools to allow the city to continue to conduct business remotely in the event something were to occur. We discovered through this pandemic that being able to meet virtually in some rare instances is a valuable tool for the city to have, and under state law wouldn't be necessarily permitted unless there was an exception given by the General Assembly to the Open Meetings Act. This would give the city under its home rule authority the ability to conduct virtual meetings, as we have been doing for the course of the past year, if it was necessary because of some sort of emergency or some sort of situation where it would not be prudent to meet in person. So there's very few changes. I'll just go through them briefly. The first proposed amendment is to section 3.02 of the charter. That section deals with the qualifications of council members. And the change here is merely to take pronouns that were gender specific and to make them gender neutral, which is consistent with the rest of the charter. The second proposed amendment is to section 3.07 of the charter, which is council meetings. And as I just referenced, this would add language that would allow council to conduct any regular or special council meeting through virtual means in the event that there has been a declared state of emergency, or if there are circumstances under which it would not be prudent for council to meet in person. So that is a substantive change to the charter that has come about because of the most recent pandemic. And it is one that I've seen in other communities adopt as well as a result of what's occurred. The third proposed amendment is to section 3.09 of the charter, removal and vacancies. The changes here are to make the verbiage in this section consistent with the other sections of the charter. There's no substantive changes in that respect. It's just updating the language and eliminating some unnecessary words that added some confusion to the intent of this section. The fourth proposed amendment is to section 4.07, which is the section that deals with the removal of the city manager. A couple changes here. The first is, again, one, to eliminate some verbiage to make the terms that are contained in this section consistent with the rest of the charter. And the other change is that this section would provide for a public hearing in the event one is requested by a current city manager who is facing termination. Under Ohio law, frequently when a public body holds a public hearing, that decision could potentially be subject to an appeal in the Court of Common Pleas. Some additional language was added to this section to clarify that any decision that is reached by City Council regarding the removal of the city manager is not subject to any appeal. The fifth proposed amendment would be adding a new section, section 11.08, entitled Meetings of Boards, Committees, and Commissions through Virtual Means. This section would extend the ability to meet virtually to city commissions, boards, and committees in the event of, again, as mentioned before, an emergency or a situation where the board should not conduct an in-person meeting. And those are all the changes that have been proposed to the charter. Are there any questions? So procedurally, there is a first reading of an ordinance that would place these on the ballot on the agenda for this evening. If council wants to move forward with that, there would be a second reading at the June council meeting and third reading and passage at the July council meeting, and it could then be placed on the ballot if that is council's pleasure.
Emily, I do have a quick question, and I fear I may have asked you this already. How will this look on the ballot? So in places where we're just replacing a word, will it show kind of a scratch out?
It will,
So that
yes.
people don't think we're like rewriting the whole thing, just a word here.
No, we will not be rewriting the whole charter. It will be or
I just
submitting
want
that
that
to
perception. It's
submitting
very
that to the electorate to go through. It'll only be the sections that are being changed, and there will be a summary of those changes also provided in advance.
Yeah, I was just hoping like the single word changes that would show just this word, just this word.
It would show the whole section.
Yeah,
It
but
would
with
not the
the
whole chart.
line with the
Yeah.
strike through.
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
Emily, my only comment is that for most folks that may not know, and that is the charter review occurs every 5 years.
That's correct.
So the next time that you'd have an opportunity to review this charter would be 5 years from today, and or make any changes to it.
If members would like to move forward with placing the proposed changes on the ballot in November, it is recommended that City Council adopt the report. If members do not want to move forward placing the proposed changes on the ballot this time, it is recommended City Council receive the report. Receive versus adopt. Do I hear motion with respect to the report?
I think Mr. O'Reilly tried to, but he's muted.
I move to adopt.
Is there a second to adopt?
So again,
Is there any discussion?
The only question that I have is that for council members to know is, I'm unfamiliar, what does it cost for us to put a charter review amendment change on for November?
My understanding, yes.
Yes, there is some, but it is less in November than it would be at other times of the year.
Oh, okay. And do you know approximately what it would cost?
I'm not sure. I don't know if Karen is on. She might know.
It was in the information we got, the background information. It was like 5,000 maybe.
All right.
I think it's what, 5 or 4,000, 4 or 5?
Yep.
That ballpark, that's correct.
I understand. What is the difference between receiving and adopting?
Receiving simply means that you have heard it, but you aren't taking any action on it. Adopting means that you're adopting what is contained in the report for council.
Thank you.
Having been moved and seconded to adopt the report, all those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
yes,
Yes.
Those opposed? The motion carries. Now we'll go to the first reading of the ordinance authorizing the placement of proposed revisions to the charter of the city of Wyoming on November 2nd, 2021 ballot and declaring an emergency. This is the first reading of the ordinance. The second reading is set for June 21st, 2021 city council meeting. Do I hear a motion with respect to the tabling of the ordinance?
We don't, I don't think we need to table it. No.
Strike that, excuse me. All right. All right. Do I hear a motion to receive the ordinance?
But we don't need that either. We just needed the first reading, Mayor.
Okay.
And we can move on to the next item.
All right. Okay. Proclamation declaring June 2021 as Pride Month. Whereas the city of Wyoming is home to a diverse and inclusive community, and whereas individuals who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, LGBTQ, include individuals from all faiths, races, national origins, socioeconomic statuses, education levels, and political beliefs. And whereas LGBTQ people in the United States have made and continue to make vital contributions to the United States and to the world in every aspect, including the fields of education, law, health, business, science, research, economic development, architecture, law enforcement, healthcare, fashion, sports, government, military, music, film, politics, technology, literature, and civil rights. And whereas on June 26, 2015, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled in Obergefell v. Hodges 134, Supreme Court 2584, that same-sex couples have a constitutional right to marry, and acknowledged that, quote unquote, no union is more profound than marriage, for it embodies the highest ideals of love, fidelity, devotion, sacrifice, and family. And whereas the LGBTQ people in the United States have fought for equal treatment, dignity, and respect, and whereas LGBTQ people in the United States have achieved significant milestones, ensuring that future generations of LGBTQ people in the United States will enjoy a more equal and just society. Therefore, the city of Wyoming proclaims the month of June 2021 as Pride Month to provide an opportunity for our residents to learn about the discrimination and inequality that the LGBTQ community has experienced and continues to experience, and to celebrate the contributions of the LGBT community given under my hand this 13th day of May in the year 2021. Next, resolution honoring the services of David Sparks, serving on the Historic Preservation Commission. Whereas David Sparks has served the citizens of the city of Wyoming as a member of the Historic Preservation Commission, and whereas David has shown a deep and abiding interest in learning the history and preserving the unique character and architecture of our community. And whereas David has also shown care for and appreciation of the value of the legacy passed on to us by our predecessors, and the importance of passing that legacy on to future generations, writing and publishing so that those salient facts might be both disseminated and preserved. And whereas in all of David's actions and deliberations on the commission, David has shown to be a person of conviction and a committed advocate of his beliefs. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Wyoming City Council, on behalf of all of the citizens of Wyoming, give our heartfelt thanks to David Sparks for his energy and creative contribution to the long-term well-being of our community. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of the Council of the City of Wyoming and be presented to David as but a small token of our continuing appreciation and esteem, passed unanimously the 17th day of May, 2021. Now we move on to new business not otherwise on the agenda. Does anyone have new business not otherwise on the agenda?
I think you might say something. I was hoping we would talk through the mask mandate, given the changes in recommendations from the CDC and the state of Ohio.
Yeah, we're going to put that on the committee of the whole agenda. So what we plan to do with that is have a committee of the whole agenda meeting at 6 o'clock. We're going to have a city council meeting at 7. Depending on what city council decides at that committee of the whole meeting, we will go into city council and make a decision on the mask. So just food for thought. I'm glad you brought that up. That's what we're going to be. That's probably going to take most of the time on committee of the whole. So that's going to be the focus of the committee of the whole meeting on Monday.
Okay, thanks. Just in the meantime, then how does that work for staff? So and I read this, I didn't read the actual statement from the state, but I read it in news that the state is lifting the mandate. So, excuse me. So at that point, our mandate clicks in, right, Emily? So do we have something on the books that we don't really expect staff?
So yeah, there's a couple things going on. First, the governor announced that the mask mandate would be lifted on June 1st or June 2nd, excuse me. He also indicated, I believe today, that the mask mandate is lifted as it pertains to vaccinated individuals only. In either event, the ordinance that was passed by City Council goes into effect when DeWine lifts those orders. So the purpose of the city's ordinance was kind of a safety net in the event that the mask mandate was lifted or was overturned before City Council was prepared to have that same thing happen in Wyoming, that the city's ordinance would take effect. So with DeWine lifting those measures, the city's ordinance is in effect to the extent that it's not covered by state law. So the city's ordinance still requires the wearing of masks until council takes any action on that.
All right.
So for the next week at least, then we'll be enforcing an ordinance that goes beyond the state recommendation.
Yes, it'll be a local ordinance. That's what's in effect.
So Rusty, not to put you on the spot, well, I guess you could answer as chief of police or acting city manager. What position does that put staff in?
I don't intend to have the police department enforcing any mask ordinance this week. It does put us in the position of, for the Civic Center and basically all city properties, we're going to maintain what the ordinance says for at least this coming week until next Monday, until you guys can discuss the topic. I don't intend to have us enforce the mask mandate anywhere past that until we get further direction from council next Monday. But my quick answer would be that at city properties, and the biggest one would be the Civic Center, we would continue to tell people that are running the facility that they would need to wear masks consistent with the ordinance.
Okay.
You know, you have, Rusty, I almost hate to bring this up, but you have a big weekend coming up the week before, prior to our meeting. Oh, no, I'm incorrect.
Yeah.
Take everything back.
I have a concern, Rusty, that was just thinking about recently that I thought maybe you knew something, might know something about, or Mike might, but the city just planted a bunch of trees, many on Ritchie where I live. And since we're talking about thumbless cicadas, but they're definitely a threat to those young trees. And just wonder, you know, if I know Terry's not here anymore, but if there was any discussion before the trees were planted about the potential, you know, cicadas, certain trees, really small trees. That's why you see people with covers on their trees around town that are really small, because the females tear open the branches to lay their eggs, and it can kill the small trees. And
I would say on that topic, we don't have the resources to cover up all the new trees that we just planted. So what I would ask is the homeowners that have those young trees in their yards do what they can to protect those trees. And I can certainly reach out, see what we can do with maybe Mike or Rob when he starts next week to touch base with those families that receive the new trees, give them a pamphlet on how they can help protect those trees.
okay, there was no discussion before planting them about the possibility, or?
If there was, I was unaware of it.
Rusty, I'll chip in. We've talked to
Okay.
our arborist about that, and he said that the size trees we plant at 2.5, 3-inch caliper are big enough that they usually aren't severely affected by the cicadas, and so that's been our process. But you know, the people that did put netting on, you know, that can only help, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering. I planted a new tree and put netting on it because I didn't want to lose my investment, but I wasn't sure. I mean, some of the trees I've seen on Ritchie are pretty small. I mean, about the same size as the one I planted, but I didn't know what the caliper size was. So I guess it's good to know maybe they're okay without it, but it wouldn't hurt, I guess. I know I told one of my neighbors she might want to do that, but I think it's also the species of tree too, isn't it? That only happens in certain species,
Yeah, I think that is a factor as well.
like fruit trees, maybe the cherry trees and the crabapple, those might be more.
So typically when we planted was not at a high risk.
Okay. Thank you.
Rusty, it sounds like the making of a new video of how you can encourage the residents to wrap their trees.
Like it. It's a good idea. We'll get out there and film that this week. Well, we might need somebody in a cicada outfit that could be in the video if anyone wants to volunteer.
Okay, any other miscellaneous?
Wait, is this miscellaneous or is this public comment? I'm
This
lost
is
now.
new business.
This is new business.
Because I think there's someone with their hand up, somebody, or there was.
Yeah, this is the person with their hand up intended to have comment in the public part. So I let them know that we'd already passed that part of the meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, if we're talking miscellaneous then, yes. I just wanted to say that I went to the new yoga studio in town, Kindred Spirit, above Half Day Cafe, and I was really impressed with, they did a beautiful job sort of redoing that space. Looks like a real yoga studio. She had an air filter and the windows were open, and I think it's a really nice addition to Wyoming's business community. So I encourage everyone to try it. They want to be more flexible.
I had a couple of items. We received the tonnage from Upcycle Day, and it's total of 15.25 tons approximately. So the year prior, we were able to salvage 14.5 tons. So a bit more on the upcycle front this year. So that's great. I wanted to say I went to pick up my pool pass at the aquatic center and saw the water in the pool. And I'm so unbelievably excited to get back to that pool. That's definitely a sign of the return to normal life. And I also wanted to say hi. I didn't know if we had any of the third graders, but many of Wyoming's third grade students did their virtual Wyoming City Tour, which is an annual thing. Mr. Pittman's class is the one my daughter is in, and today she was Mayor Taylor, I hear, and they had a visit with Mayor Hoffmeister, which definitely impressed her, and she's pretty sure she's the mayor now. So thanks for doing that, and thanks to all the staff who helped make that possible for all of our third graders.
Jim, do you have anything?
I just want to welcome Rob. It'll be great to have you carry on the great tradition that Terry Huxley for our people. And one of the factors about snow removal is that we have a myth that we created under Terry. There are secret electric wires under Springfield Pike. People would complain, you've got that electric wire. The snow doesn't fall in Wyoming. I wish you all the best with it. You've got a terrific crew and many years of success.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to getting started.
Jeff?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just one thing, and I apologize again for my camera not working, but I don't know who this is directed to. A couple years ago, we had a group from the county give us a presentation about a levy to support library renovation, and they told us all these wonderful things that would happen to the Wyoming Library if the levy passed, and it did. And I was wondering if anybody had heard anything about that since, and if they could share an update with us about the Wyoming Library and where we stand in those renovations.
I have not heard, but that's a great issue.
I had asked
think we
Rusty
should-
and he did not know either. So I was just curious because I remember them telling us
I do.
we were going to become ADA accessible, many other things to happen to the Wyoming Library. And I think it's been 2 or 3 years now. Well, probably not 3, probably 2.
We should
So I
reach
didn't-
out and have them come talk to us.
Megan.
Okay,
Can you
thank
hear
you.
me?
Ahead,
Yeah.
Megan.
Okay. Yes, Jeff. So the Wyoming Branch Library is slated for ADA improvements. They had a public meeting that we advertised about a month and a half ago. The chair of our EDC, Chris Harmon, attended that meeting, and he did report out to the EDC at their last meeting, just saying we are in the queue for that, and it'll come back to the community when the library gets ready for that design. So we're still looking at those improvements to be made.
Okay, excellent. So the process is moving forward and the improvements will be made. We just don't have a
Yeah.
timeline yet. Okay, thank you. That's all I
Yeah,
have, sir.
You got it.
Zach?
Nope, everyone have a great month.
Al?
Nothing at all. Thank you. See you soon.
I would just say be safe and look out for your neighbors. We have no members to excuse today, so we will now move into executive session. Under section 121.03B1 of the codified ordinance of the city of Wyoming, council may adjourn to executive session to consider appointments to city boards and commissions, specifically the Historic Preservation Commission. Do I hear a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved.
All right, second?
Second,
Having been moved and seconded to adjourn to executive session, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Green, Mr. Leroy,
Yes.
Mr. Riley, Ms. Averett,
Yes.
Ms. Stancorp Taylor,
yes.
Mr. Delgado,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffmeister.
Yes. Council is adjourned to executive session.